Welcome to the NuriEdge podcast, where neuroscience meets leadership and real-world performance. I'm your host, Lacey Matthews, along with Mariana Merritt, and today we're joined by Jesslyn Popwell. Jesslyn is a dynamic people leader and talent strategist known for helping organizations build culture where performance and belonging go hand in hand. With deep experience across talent development, DEI strategy, and leadership enablement, Jesslyn brings a practical, human-centered lens to what it really takes to grow people inside of fast-moving organizations. She's passionate about creating systems that don't just look good on paper, but actually work for the humans inside them, especially when it comes to leadership development, equity, and sustainable performance. We're excited to explore with Jesslyn how people and teams can move beyond intention into real impact by focusing today on some of our common struggles. So let's start out actually with a heavy one. First of all, thank you for joining us, Jesslyn. We know that there's often a dynamic in organizations where really strong players get pulled into compensating for leadership gaps. Can you tell us a bit about your experience there and what you're seeing?
Sure. So I have a huge, diverse background as far as my career is concerned. I've worked in education, higher education, and even the corporate atmosphere. And in a recent corporate position, I decided to move into that industry so that I could, build some more leverage, in particular with my HR experience. And so I started off on a lower tier position, a lower tier role. And I quickly moved into sort of a leadership position without receiving the qualified pay for that. So I was given a lot of opportunities to express my knowledge, share my skill set, train, even work in a consulting way, in a consulting manner, but I was not compensated appropriately for that. I was happy to help, but I did experience that negative side of the business, which was unfortunate because I was hoping that I could use that to leverage into a higher paid leadership position long term, and ultimately decided it wasn't a good fit, and I moved on to greener pastures.
I think we see that so often when we choose to tell people they have the opportunity to prove themselves. What we're saying is, I don't want to compensate you for the worth that you're about to bring or the responsibility I'm going to put on your shoulders. And we see people stuck there for so long. And that, I think, really eats into the commitment you have to the work you're doing.
I agree.
Man, I feel like these conversations are uncomfortable but necessary because we've seen it. It leads to a lot of burnout, a lot of talent leakage. I think that high performers often end up paying this tax of, this isn't really my role or my responsibility, but I can. And so I think as we get into really honest conversation with folks who are people leaders, building teams, managing teams, these are the types of conversations that really make a difference in how do those people experience their work in the day-to-day, and how does the company fare? Okay, well, pushing into yet another common struggle. Sometimes we see managers who are really, really good at managing up. So they're excellent with clients, with executives, maybe the C-suite, the exec team, but they really struggle with leading down, making sure that they are tending and taking care of their own team. Will you talk a little bit about your observations on maybe what's happening psychologically for folks when they can manage up really well, but they struggle with that managing down effectively?
Oh yeah. So in a recent position, I went into escrow for a short while, and my manager, she was great with communicating with stakeholders and communicating with clients, and great with bringing in business for our particular branch. But when it came to managing the team itself and dedicating that time and that energy, I noticed she struggled. And that's kind of where I came into play, where I would offer my consulting experience and my knowledge to try to help her streamline processes and try to help her with managing employee relations, managing the people. And she would take my feedback. She would certainly reach out to me and ask me for feedback on things. And I certainly appreciated that. But then we were drifting into an area of like, well, this isn't technically my role, but I'm happy to provide these services. And I immediately was able to pick up on the areas where it was like, okay, I'm seeing now why there's a high turnover rate. I'm seeing now why certain individuals aren't staying as long as maybe they could. And it's a matter of making sure that you're valuing the talent that's there while they're there, you know. You do want to make sure that you're providing adequate training and support and opportunities for individuals to leverage their experience into ideally a future promotion. There should be a contingency plan where that is the case. But especially in the first part, there should be more of that professional support available so that they feel like there's opportunities for growth here. There's opportunities for me to build with this team, not just personally, but overall. And so I saw those struggles, and that was concerning. So I offered my input when I could, and the rest is history. Right? Oh my gosh, structure. I love structure. I have an E-type personality. So if there's a packet and an area where I can take notes and screenshots and all of those things, I love that. So as somebody who came into this position, this particular position that I previously referred to, um, and I realized that that wasn't the case, I took it upon myself to build that on my own. And I used technology and I put together checklists and things of that nature so that when the next person came on, ideally, they could utilize those same resources. And ultimately, that is what happened. I ended up, after a short period of time working there, training the next person. You know, it was just a, hey, she's good at this. Let's just throw her in there. And I still didn't have enough knowledge and wherewithal, unlike my manager who'd been in the business for 30 plus years, to, in my eyes, train as efficiently as I could. But I think just given, again, my skill set, given my personality, it was like, well, she's perfect for this. And so I dove straight in. I even worked towards making sure that this associate got the access that they needed, all the technological input that they needed. I was went in full force with that, and I remember thinking to myself, you know, this is something that management should really be working towards building and creating so that, well, number one, ideally, you won't have to spend as much time training the next associate and the next one. It can end up having a domino effect in a positive way to where everyone is working, there's a collective towards making sure that everyone's getting sufficient training in some area or another. You know, every employee brings their own values and talent to a role. And so it might be that maybe I'm not as technologically savvy as the next person. And so that person can bring that level to the position. But we're all collectively working towards training for the same thing and building the same thing. I hope I answered your question. Oh, Yeah, if everyone feels like they're all contributing in some manner towards the same goal, it boosts employee morale. It allows us to thrive, the organization to thrive, and the team to thrive. It increases employee loyalty. It makes us excited about coming to work every day because it's like, oh, we're all working towards the same thing, as opposed to you're in your bubble, and I'm over here working with stakeholders and executives. That doesn't work, and it hasn't worked historically for this particular company, this branch, and other organizations where I've worked. It's like you have to start at the root of the problem. And the root of the problem is, what are we doing to build our team? What are we doing to build the talent that exists currently? It also, I think, helps with cultivating trust and integrity. So when I'm not seeing that, then it's like, well, no wonder people are leaving and pursuing other opportunities. It's because we're missing that. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for your time today. For more information or to connect with Jesslyn, you can find her on LinkedIn under Jesslyn Popwell. And to learn more about NuriEdge, you can find us on LinkedIn or online at NuriEdge.ai.